Imagine a world without a home, a life spent constantly on the move, chasing the next meal, never truly settling down. For millions of years, this was the reality for our ancestors. They were wanderers, nomads, their lives dictated by the seasons and the herds. But then, something incredible happened. For the first time in history, humans stopped moving. This single decision would change everything forever. It's a story not just about survival, but about the very moment the concept of home was born. So, what was the catalyst for this monumental shift? It all started with a tiny seed. The agricultural revolution, roughly 12,000 years ago, was the game changer. As our ancestors learned to cultivate crops and domesticate animals, they unlocked a superpower, a stable, predictable food source. Suddenly, the frantic, endless search for sustenance began to ease. Farming made food reliable, and reliable food made a permanent home possible. Think about it. Why roam the vast plains when your food is growing right outside your door? This simple but profound realization led humans to settle near the lands that fed them, primarily in fertile river valleys like those of the Tigris, Euphrates, and the Nile. These weren't just random campsites anymore. They were the birthplaces of the first villages. The idea of a single place to live, to return to call your own, began to take root. Let's trace this evolution. Initially, our nomadic ancestors gathered around a fire. The fire was the center of their temporary world, a source of warmth, protection from predators, and a place to cook and share stories. It was a flickering beacon of community in the vast wilderness. But as they began to stay in one place for longer periods, these simple fire circles started to transform. The first step was observation. With the fields providing a steady supply of grain and the herds staying close, the constant pressure to move vanished. People noticed that they didn't need to pack up and leave every few weeks. They could stay put. The land was providing for them, month after month, season after season. This stability was a luxury our species had never known before. This observation led to experimentation. Why keep building flimsy, temporary shelters if you weren't going anywhere? The first attempts at permanent structures were born from this question. People began using what was available around them. In places like the Near East, they mixed mud with straw to create sturdy bricks, which they dried in the sun. Walls started to rise from the earth. In other regions, they used stone, wood, and reeds. These weren't just huts. They were investments in the future. Each wall built, each roof thatched, was a declaration. We are here to stay. The circular, temporary designs of nomadic tents gave way to more permanent, often rectangular, houses, sometimes with multiple rooms for different activities, sleeping, cooking, storage. But this new way of life came with a dark side. A harsh lesson that had to be learned. With people living in close proximity, something else found a permanent home: disease. Waste accumulated, and contaminated water sources became a deadly problem. The very closeness that fostered community also created a breeding ground for pathogens. This was a brutal realization. The price of settlement was a new kind of vulnerability. Epidemics could sweep through a village, a terrifying consequence of this new, densely packed lifestyle. Yet, as always, humans adapted. This failure led to mastery. The challenge of disease forced our ancestors to innovate. They learned the importance of hygiene, developing early forms of waste management and sanitation. They figured out that it was a bad idea to have your water source downstream from your latrine. They also learned the power of cooperation on a scale never seen before. Building a village required teamwork. You needed people to build houses, others to farm, some to guard the settlement, and others to manage resources. Social structures became more complex. Rules, traditions, and shared responsibilities emerged, knitting the community together. Construction techniques improved, leading to more durable homes and even communal buildings, like granaries for storing surplus food and shrines for rituals. And so, from scattered fires in the wilderness, organized villages emerged. This wasn't just a change in architecture, it was a revolution in human consciousness. For the first time, we had neighbors. We had a shared identity tied to a specific place. The concept of belonging to a community, to a home, was born. Life was no longer just about individual survival. It was about the survival and prosperity of the group. When humans stopped wandering and started building homes, they didn't just put down roots into the soil. They created a rhythm, a pulse of daily life, of shared work, celebration, and struggle. When humans built homes, the earth finally had a heartbeat. But a village is only as strong as the people and the tools that build it. Settling down was just the beginning. To truly thrive, these new communities needed to innovate further. They needed strength, efficiency, and new ways to shape their world. What came next? The birth of specialized tools and the dawn of craftsmanship. Join us next time as we explore how these first villagers became the world's first artisans and engineers. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey back in time fascinating, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the past. See you next time.